Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch the Geek. I'm here, my boy Jazz.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. This is your boy Neebs, aka Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with my co-host Jazz, aka DJ Beast Mode.
DJ Beast Mode.
DJ Beast Mode. What's going on, Jazz?
Wait,
How
we're
you
talking
doing?
about football now? Yeah.
No, man.
I
We're
love
talking
Marshawn
about
Lynch.
we're talking about a different kind of beast today. So those of you that are joining us, we're doing something a little different today. Usually we do our Salaam Nerds Weekly, which we'll still do. But before we get into that, we wanted to introduce you guys to a special guest, and his name is Rishi Gandhi. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm doing really great.
So tell the audience a little bit about you, because we know that you are a documentary filmmaker. You've done horror shorts and you've done new stuff, and you're a first-generation immigrant. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a first-generation immigrant to the United States. I actually grew up in West Africa, in Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire. I was born in the UK, actually. So like I'm a in a way, like a kind of like a multi-generational immigrant, because my parents are immigrants as well, part of the Indian diaspora. And I started out in working in news and cable television. Always wanted to, I feel like since the fourth grade, I always wanted to make movies after I saw Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo and Throne of Blood. And Zhang Yimou's Raise the Red Lantern. And I guess my earliest opportunity was actually working on a trauma film, literally somewhere in Long Island City, shoveling shit in a basement for a trauma movie. And then like not even a full year later, I was an extra on The Dark Knight Rises.
Wait.
Whoa.
Wait a second. I was an extra on The Dark Knight Rises.
In Manhattan?
Yeah, when the Wall Street scene, when the cops and the bad guys are fighting. Were you there too?
Yeah, I was there. I was on the stairs. I was in the street. I was behind the tumbler.
Yeah, I was behind the tumbler too.
Yeah.
Wait, you might have been the guy who threw me onto the tumbler.
Were you a cop?
No, I wasn't a cop. I was part of the bad guys. I was too dark.
Yeah, no, I was part of the righteous crew taking down the corruption within Gotham City. I was not one of the cops. I was not one of the gangs.
No. League of Shadows all the way, bro.
Yeah.
That's so funny. What a coincidence.
I mean, it was like 1,000 people, so it's always likely you'll find somebody there.
Yeah, they told us when we filmed it was in the record books for the most paid scene with extras or something like that. So
it was the most extras in New York film history specifically.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
For New York film history specifically, yeah. I also worked on the Queensboro Bridge scenes, of which there was only really one or two. So
yeah.
Is that the one with the cops walking across when they get out of the underground?
Yeah, that and Batman being on top of the bridge, and then there's kind of like a rotational shot from a chopper. Like I was somewhere on that bridge at one point. But you don't see me in the movie. I was like, fell out.
Yeah, you can see like the top of my head a little bit, and that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I only ever saw the movie once, hated it, moved on with my life.
That's funny. So I got to learn about you through a mutual friend of ours, Sana Syed, who is a pretty good friend of mine. Like we used to hang out back in the Clubhouse days a lot. And she reached out to me and she told me a little bit about your project that you're doing. And I was like, yeah, I would love to have him come on our show and talk about his project. It sounds really amazing. I watched the trailer. I'm going to put the link to the trailer in here so that people can watch it themselves. But maybe I would just say at this point, stop the podcast, go to the link, watch the little trailer, and then come back to the podcast because it is really, really cool.
Oh, you're talking about the Kickstarter link that has
the Kickstarter thing, with the little animation stuff. Not a real trailer. It's I don't know, what would you call it for the lack of a better
that's
word?
an animatic, so it's taking storyboards that are drawn by Andy Kung, who's a friend of mine who works in animation, and then it was edited together by my friend and editor Yann Lefrancois Rizgen, so that it, the animatic actually had pacing and timing and all that great stuff, so you could feel the tension and feel kind of the atmosphere we're going for. Then it goes into the pitch about what the project is. Then I kind of talk a bit more about like the why of the project essentially, and why we need the money and why we want this to happen. And also, if you go down on the page, I actually have a whole video about specifically just the why of the beast we carry.
Yeah.
Which the why boils down to, Islamophobia. It affects many, many people, not just Muslims.
Yeah.
So let's literally have jackbooted thugs going to people's homes, places of work, stealing them, kidnapping children. I live in Los Angeles right now, and literally ICE, even before the raids that started last week. Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, you can curse.
Yeah, well, these motherfuckers, like literally not far from where my partner worked at USC, they were kidnapping children from daycare centers.
That's insane.
Fucking kids, okay?
That's
little brown kids. They're stealing them out of there. It doesn't matter. These guys are looking at it as, we got to hit numbers. These are our orders. Let's do it. They don't care. These are inhumane people.
Yeah.
Right. And my why is, even though this is a period piece, it is about it's inspired by a lot of what I personally went through as a child in 2001 when I was no longer treated as a child.
Right.
But I think it applies to today. And the reason, though, I made that why video like almost a month and a half ago, and it's somehow more relevant right now at this present moment than it was even when I started writing this project over a year and a half ago.
Yeah. So let's take a step back. So let's pretend that people have watched the trailer already. Let's go back and talk about what it is and what it's about. I think you alluded to a bit, but let's get your pitch about it, because it's really cool concept. I love the animation. I just really want to hear you pitch it and give us what it is.
Yeah, so The Beast We Carry is a live action short, and it follows a young South Asian boy in pre-9/11 New York in 2001 named Raju. Raju has this supernatural ability to see the people's inner selves manifested as these creatures only he can see and interact with. And in a way, it makes him a deeply empathetic child who's able to figure out and really just see what people are going through in the moment. A good example is his best friend, Brucey. Brucey's kind of a class clown, always acting out, always being larger than life. But next to him is a sad clown that manifests itself, that is really, broken and sad all the time. And it shows him his friend just needs love. His friend needs attention. Right, that's why he acts out the way he does, and it's these sort of insights that makes Raju a really empathetic kid. And he also has his own inner self that that follows him around. That's a gentle mime, and the mime acts like a sort of sounding board for Raju. Right?
Yeah.
He is silent. He is Raju. He's a part of Raju, but he's also separate from him. And what happens is 9/11 happens. The world changes overnight. The fear, paranoia, and hatred, and of course the manifesting xenophobia and Islamophobia changes the inner selves around his town. His friends, neighbors, teachers, mentors, everyone, their inner selves become monstrous. And eventually Raju and the mime find themselves trapped in their high school with these inner beasts out for their blood.
I love it. This is such an original concept. I've never really seen anything like this, and it was really cool to see the animation and the pictures. The mime looks so good. It's not scary, but also a little creepy, but not too creepy. And then when you see him with Raju, and you're this sympathetic mime, and it's like, oh man, he's like being there for him. It's really cool. I really like the animations that you guys have done, but it's live action. When I was watching the trailer, I thought it was animated, so it's actually going to be live action.
It is, and it actually says it in the description. I've been finding out people actually don't like reading shit anymore. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very true.
But so I guess that one's on me. But no, it's gonna be live action. I just really wanted to do the animatic to give people a feeling of the tone and the feel of the film, because my goal is to is off of this short to get to a feature film.
Ooh.
And the reason why it's live action is that I'm very, very inspired by films like The Babadook, like Alien, and like the original two Nosferatus. And the reason why is that all those films were shot in camera.
Right.
And they really relied on things that I am very actually like good at, because I was a cinematographer before I was an editor. And, you know, after I was an editor, I became a film and TV colorist. So because I have this background in imaging, I have a very strong sense of what it is I want, and what I can achieve on set, in camera, versus developing a VFX pipeline to get all this sort of stuff happening in supernatural ways. Which is why instead of going the VFX route, which I actually really like VFX, I have a lot of respect and love for VFX, because as a colorist, I often have to work with VFX people. So my thing is, like, I personally think to do VFX right, I would need a lot more prep time, and I would need to be working with a lot of those, like, you know, really talented people well ahead of time. And it would also change our budget considerations.
Sure.
So the goal is to have really great actors, like really great costumes, fantastic special effects makeup, really take our time designing our lighting, having production design that is really good, so that we have like the spaces, the school, they feel right. And it takes place in 2001, so we need to pay special attention to that. And, you know, of course, this stuff costs money, right?
It does.
I'm not trying to do, you know, I'm trying to like also make sure my cast and crew are fed and that everyone gets paid.
Of course.
And it's really hard to do because everything is expensive, but we're doing our best to make it. And so we have like our 30K minimal budget, which is what we're trying to hit. As of this recording, we've made about, I want to say, I think we hit like 13,400 or something. And so that's about 43% of the goal. And we do have a stretch goal of 45K, which would actually give us more to put into production. 30K is like the minimum for just shooting the thing. 45K gives us a little more stretch to like get a bit more squeezed in, and, you know, value wise in terms of like production design, in terms of the costumes, special effects, makeup, in terms of our extras. And then we have the soup to nuts number of our stretch goal, which is 60K, which basically allows us to pay for certain parts of post-production, which also allows us to put money into film festivals and promoting the film, and flying people out to festivals as the need arises. And yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part is a big part of making shorts these days is it's very expensive out of a production. And most festivals don't really make it easy for you to come and see them.
No, they definitely don't.
And you have to provide everything, and you have to pay for everything. So yeah, that's, you know, that's a short version of why the Kickstarter exists. And I think the bigger part of it is I want people to be aware this project exists. I want to know where people are backing it from. And, you know, I want to actually kind of keep it as like a kind of like ongoing thing of, you know, people joining the conversation. I believe I shared with you a Discord link for the project. So if people want to join the project on Discord,
we'll drop that too.
So yeah, it's a little ambitious, sure, but I feel really strongly about this piece, and I believe in it. And I think it has to get made, because no one else is going to make something like this, and no one else is going to give me money. So I have to find the people that are going to be champions for this thing, because at the end of the day, film takes a community to make. And I think in this case, we got to be a grassroots community, almost like, you know, going door to door, like a politician does. Like, to get this thing
Oh,
happening.
I know all that too well.
Jazz knows a lot about that. Jazz does fundraising for some organizations and stuff, so he's used to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason why I'm able to even do this right now is that I used to do door to door and like phone banking for like local like political races back when I still lived in New York, and after a while, you just kind of you know, you just kind of get a thicker skin.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. One of the things that I really liked and I took away from this that I wanted you to elaborate on more is that, yeah, this short is about Islamophobia, but the main character isn't Muslim, which kind of shows that Islamophobia affects more than just Muslims. And I love that concept. I think that's something that gets ignored a lot, especially when communities like ours sometimes turn on each other and throw each other under the bus, but we really are like all under that same umbrella. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the simplest thing from my perspective is 9/11 happens. The minute I get home that day, we have a sticker on our door at my mom's apartment telling us to get the fuck out of town. And this is New York. This was like a blue town. This was like supposedly, you know, like.
Oh no, I have a feeling about. I have strong feelings about coastal cities and how they're actually more racist than some places.
Oh, they're like they're definitely at least my experience in New York has been like it is a very Islamophobic place, and you know we also have the murders of Sikh people, we have the murders of people. They don't look at you and like, man, should I check his religion? Like no one's doing that.
He's brown.
It's just that you're brown. It's really just comes down to this old-fashioned racism. They don't look like me. They're dangerous. I'm gonna fucking kill them. You know, and just like a lot of casual stuff, like people casually saying awful things about Iraqi people after the invasion. Like I had someone in my life who was a dear friend who said really awful things about Iraqi people because he was parroting what he heard on Fox News, basically saying they're smelly people because they don't bathe. And my retort to him was, well, if the U.S. Army didn't pollute their waterways and destroy their water treatment facilities, maybe they could bathe and not fucking die.
Right.
You know, it's a thing that affects everybody. And here's the thing, man. I went from being treated as a child one day to no longer being treated as a child. When I went to visit my parents in West Africa, and I stopped by Charles de Gaulle Airport, I was taken to a completely different part of the airport, like far away enough that there was nobody. And I was in this huge hall, and they were interrogating me in the middle of this huge empty hall with windows everywhere. And I was there for like 30 minutes. I was like, am I flying to Africa? What's happening? They just asked me question after question. I'm a little kid at that point. I'm still like 13 years old. And yeah, like I didn't know if I was being detained, whatever it was. And that was, you know, that's Charles de Gaulle. Like the French are racist as fuck in their own way. And they really fucking hate Muslim people. You know, eventually my parents moved to Tunisia, and under, you know, when Obama was president, I remember I got interrogated to hell when I was at JFK just because I was visiting my pops in Tunisia while he was dying of cancer. So, you know, and that was a huge thing. Like they took all my social media, they took all that stuff, and it's like, dude, this stuff affects you. They don't care. They really don't care. And I think a lot of people in Indian communities, Hindu communities specifically, like don't think this stuff affects them. They think they're above it because those communities also tend to be very insular and not really like interact outside of themselves. And and the thing is, it's really dangerous to be insular to that degree and not think something that affects your fellow man also affects you. It's sort of like one of those ideas of like, if some of us are not free, none of us are free.
Yeah.
100%.
And I feel very strongly about that, about specifically Islamophobia, because a lot of people, you know, very rightfully so for other things would be like, if, you know, XYZ is not free, we're not free. But then when you bring it up for Islamophobia, they're like, well, that's just like some people, right? Really?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it affects so many more of us than we realize.
Yeah.
And it crosses over with so much other xenophobia that we don't realize.
So true. So true.
That's the reason why, like, a lot of people get mad at me, but I'm pro LGBT. Like, it doesn't affect me, but like, whatever's happening to their community, if we don't fight for them, we're next, right? Like, we got to be there for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
listen, the way the Brits got us was divide and conquer, man.
That is true. That is true. That is true. I wanted to take a second and kind of show some of these like artwork that you have and some of these posters. I thought these posters were really, really cool. Let's see if I could bring some of these up because they're really cool looking. Did you guys, who did the artwork for all of this stuff? Because it's really cool.
Yeah, so my concept artist is David Romero, and
Mhm.
he's the one that's basically been collaborating with me on creating the art and the feel
Yeah.
of the piece. And essentially, like, um, it was suggested to me many times to save money and just put everything through AI and get something through AI.
Mhm.
And I am so vehemently against that because I was like, there is no machine AI that will do what a real artist can do, because a real artist is the actual AI. Because when I talk to him, I get something really cool I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Versus tweaking in some language model that is like stealing from other people's work. In this case, David was such a wonderful collaborator because I would just kind of pitch something. He really got the idea of what I was going for in it. And, you know, we were able to kind of shape it rather quickly.
Yeah. I
and
love this one right here where you just see like the mind being pulled apart and trying to, you know, save the kid and he's just getting pulled apart. This one is really cool. This one where he's like, his face is coming off and you can see a little bit of him in the mime. And this one right here by the bleachers, very cool look. But I really like these ones down here. These are really cool.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I really love this mime character or the way it's drawn. It reminded me of Spirited Away a little bit, a little Studio Ghibli vibes, but horror.
Yeah, right.
It's really cool. And then you get little like here. I think this is such a cool character right here. I think they called him the bodybuilder or something.
Yep.
Very cool. I love the animation for it, which is probably why when I initially thought it was going to be animated, because these images are so cool. I really love them, but I would even love to see it in live action. But definitely, guys, check out some of this artwork. It's so cool. This alone makes me want to like really like fund this and hope that it actually like takes off.
Drop a bill, Nibs. You can drop $100 now, right?
Yeah. Let's do it. Salaam Nerds could be your first sponsor today. Let's see, and then what else we got? Here's a Kickstarter, guys. So it's at 13,525 right now. So
13,625 very soon.
yeah. So that'll be cool. Look at all this artwork. Really cool. Got the videos here. They got the plot. Definitely check all this stuff out. We'll put all these links for you guys to kind of check out. It's really cool. And tell us a little bit about some of your older work that you've done. You've done this one thing which I thought was really cool, and it was called Arcade. What are the Oratory?
Arcade Oratory.
Arcade Oratory. Tell us a little bit about that, because I want to know what your experience is. Because like you're not just like somebody who's like woke up one day, it's like, hey, give me some money and I'm gonna go make a movie. Like you've done a lot of stuff in the past. I want to talk about some of your older work.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I started in this industry all the way back in 2009. Right when I was graduating in 2009 from university, my roommate Renzo Adler and I did like a zombie short form, like a zombie short film, to kind of introduce Max Brooks, the guy that did the Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z, because he was coming to our school to do an event. So we like shot this short film, did it, and then Renzo and I kind of kept collaborating ever since then. And Renzo grew up in Milford, Connecticut, and he had this gigantic arcade, like multi-levels, like it had multiple levels to it, and it was an old place. It was called I think it was called Milford Amusements, then got changed to Smiles. And he found out it was going to get demolished eventually, and so he. And he also walked in there at one point and saw there were all these arcade machines, even though it was closed, and they were just putting them there to be maintained and stuff. And he found out from the guys there that he could shoot if he wanted. So he called me. He's like, hey, we should shoot something. We should do something. So he wrote a script really quick of how we would kind of go about it. And we shot this kind of mini doc about the American arcade in there as kind of like an ode, like, and we were basically doing like an oratory, right, about the American arcade. and that kind of ended up being, you know, one of the first things we did together. And yeah, if you love arcades, you might like that short. Granted, it's a bit old at this point because I think we released in 2013 or
Yeah.
2014. But yeah, we screened it at like places like Otakon, if you're familiar with that convention. We screened it at a couple other smaller festivals. And every once in a while, somehow that one always pops back on people's radars because people love arcades.
Something about arcades, just like the cinematography and the lighting and the lights and the noise is just really
Colors,
cool.
flashing,
The colors,
yeah.
that is really cool. But one of your films actually won an award, right? Mater Mortis. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah. So Mater Mortis was my last short film. It was my first narrative film. That was kind of like not that zombie film I did in college, which is really us just like trying to figure things out. Mater Mortis was meant to be sort of this exploration of familial illness and familial loss through the lens of horror. But it was also meant to be kind of an exploration of how South Asian masculinity has like an inability to communicate. So like, you know, it's basically a father and a son struggling with the mother/wife's illness where she's a zombie, and the son is struggling to communicate with his dad and tell him what he's really going through, and the dad himself, whenever he's about to say something, is unable to like cross that threshold. So essentially that's what the film's exploring. And we won a couple of awards. We went to a bunch of festivals with it. It was a great experience making that film, and also getting to go around a bit. And, you know, I think it was one of those projects where even though I'm kind of sick of looking at it because I worked on it for so long, and because it was so low budget, I did so much of the work, you know, which I'm capable of doing because I've done many jobs over the years, so I know how to do a lot of the stuff on my own. It's just one of those things of it really taught me this very valuable lesson of being able to let go, which is why also on this short I'm very much trying to be intentional about having people that are very good at what they do, and that are people that I'm willing to have in my collaborative circle that I can trust, so that we can pull this off, because we are going to be dealing with more money, but we're also going to be trying to achieve something that none of us have done before. And you know, everyone that's on our crew, everyone's experience, a lot of us have worked together before, and you know, we're hoping to pull off something really visually spectacular.
That's great, man. I hope you guys can too. I'm really excited about it. You had me all in after I saw the little animation and stuff like that. It's a cool concept. Never thought of before. I may do like a reaction video if that's okay with you. I love reacting to like trailers and stuff like that. That's where the views go up. So maybe, you know, seeing that might, you know, jar some people to be like, hey, let's go fund this, because this is a really cool concept, and if you're not going to make it, no one's going to make it, because no one's making these kinds of films, and we need to support people who are.
No, I actually had a South Asian producer who I thought we were having a good conversation about stuff, and then he saw all my work that I've done before, basically said, hate it, you got to relearn how to make films. And I'm like, okay. And then when he saw the pitch deck for this, before I had the animatic, before I had, you know, all the art ready, I had some of the art assets, but some of it was ready. And we had this, what I think is a nice pitch deck, because I spent something like 3 months really building it up. He looks through, he's like, man, you can't do this. You're basically going to make white people feel racist. Like, you can't do this shit. And he's like, it's horrible. Like, you're not going to have a career. And I was like, okay, I guess you're not the person I'm supposed to collaborate with. And because in my heart, I know this is the thing I have to do. This is like, no one's going to do this. No one's going to stand up for ourselves except us.
Exactly.
Like, literally, when I have friends telling me, hey, we know you're going to do a cross-country move at some point. Are you going to take a plane, or are you going to drive across? We're worried about you either way.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's, these are the times we live in. And I truly believe, like, this is the type of art that has to be made now. Like, if not now, when?
I would say now more than ever, especially with
Yeah.
the stuff going on in the news right now and the stuff going on in the country. Like, I think it's needed now more than ever.
Yeah, and the crazy part is like the Kickstarter started 3 days after they started raiding, like en masse,
Yeah.
like they've been doing in LA. Like they were already raiding all over LA for the past year.
Yeah.
But this ramp up is on a different level than what it has been.
Mm.
Like I remember last October, I was just walking around Alhambra, which is a neighborhood in LA County, and I got a text alert about ICE being around the corner. And then, like, I literally saw a van full of like neighborhood people, like, just
Yeah.
roll over, and they all hopped out and basically chased ICE away. And it's like when we're at that point where people have to protect themselves
That's crazy.
from ostensibly a force that is supposed to keep us safe, but is
Yeah.
really not. Yeah, dude, they're fucking Gestapo. Like,
Yeah.
they're all bullies.
Yeah.
And you know, we should take the power back and fucking have our own Nuremberg trials and like make sure this shit doesn't happen again. And you know, like, do I think my art has the capacity to change things? I mean, I hope
Mm-hmm.
it makes people consider a different point of view.
Yeah.
And I hope it changes the way they see things. Like, that's kind of the least. My ideal thing is like someone that's making a horror film is I leave the audience a little brutalized and feeling something. but
especially when the protagonist is like a small child, you get that
Yeah.
extra feel of like, this is how we're treating children.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I still feel incredibly vulnerable when I go to places, but like,
Yeah.
you know, when I see what happens to these kids, when I see what's happening to these kids in Palestine that no longer, like, they no longer get to be children, right?
Right.
Like, it's the scale of the horrors that we're all going through collectively right now is I don't know, if people don't see how they are aligned
Yeah.
with Islamophobia at large, and also what's happening in Palestine, then I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's like, what do you see yourself as that you're so disconnected from what is happening to like the rest of humanity?
So true. That's true. That's why we need art. It reminds us how to feel when like we made ourselves so jaded and closed off to what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Well, listen, thank you so much with sharing all the stuff. Definitely going to put all the links in the trailer when we drop this episode. Before we do our Salaam Nerds facts, Jazz, is there anything else you want to mention before we switch over?
I mean, a lot's happened this week. The No Kings protest was incredible. The 2 Minnesota state senators who were shot, prayers for them. And then what happened in Ahmedabad, Air India.
Yeah.
Prayers out to those families as well.
Oof, man, what a week.
Yeah, what a week.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy. Rishi, we loved having you. If you want to stick around for Nerd Facts, you're more than welcome
Yeah, let's
to.
do it. I don't
You
know
want to
what's
do it?
happen.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Let's do
Come
it.
on, you can't miss the nerd facts.
You can't miss the Nerd Facts. All right. Did you know that black pepper was once so valuable that it was used as currency?
Yes.
What?
That's how valuable.
What? Do you
black
know
pepper
the origin of this? I have no idea about this one.
I don't know. That's a new one. I've never heard that before. That's definitely one that, well, like, I want to know where it was currency at one point.
I mean, it was likely because like literal wars were fought over vanilla.
Spice, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like literally just vanilla. Like the thing that everyone's like, oh, vanilla, it's plain, but vanilla is not plain. Literal blood has been shed over that little white flower.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The bumps on toads are not actually warts. They're called skin glands. So media has been lying to you, telling you that those are warts on toads.
That's actually really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. See? It's not frog herpes. It's just glands. Jimi Hendrix, did you know, failed his high school music class?
Yeah,
this
makes
one I knew
sense.
because like,
See, Richie,
yeah,
did you go?
this was one of those like, oh, Einstein failed college or something. Jimi Hendrix failed music school.
Yeah, but
like,
Jimi Hendrix didn't like go according to any form. He just did what like his soul told him to do, man.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
There's
true.
no structure for that. So yeah.
That's true. That's true. I feel like that it's like that for like sometimes for like directors and videographers and stuff too. Sometimes they don't even go to college; they just learn on the spot. They don't go to school. That happens all the time over there too. In the 1920s, popcorn was actually banned from movie theaters because it was too noisy when chewing.
It is.
That's so. I thought they were gonna say because people throw it at the screen or something, but like it's actually too noisy.
Some people can't chew with their mouth closed. I fully agree with that.
Did you hear about that thing that happened in that movie Minecraft?
Oh my god, where the kids were throwing popcorn when the pig with the crown. Yeah, technically.
Yeah, yeah. What was it
I
called?
know
It
all
was,
about that.
oh my god! Rishi, did you hear about this?
No, I've been
So
completely
basically, there's a scene
disconnected.
in Minecraft where like it's like an Easter egg. Something happens where like
Okay,
they have a
I'll give the
chicken
backstory
fight.
on this one.
All right, go ahead.
There was a YouTuber named Technoblade, and he died of cancer. But he was beloved by the community. He was a streamer, and they put an Easter egg in the movie with his crown that he would wear in the game, and they put it on a pig in the game as like a callback to him, like honoring what he's done for the community. Unfortunately, a TikTok trend happened where when he would show up on screen, the pig, and people would go crazy, they would start throwing things. And then eventually, it became the trend where, like, what had happened, you go to the theater, you just throw your popcorn, whatever you had in your hands, in
Yeah.
front of you.
Poor
It
little
was a
kids were
mess.
getting drenched with like popcorns and sodas and stuff. It was really
Yeah.
bad.
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not want to be the person that has to clean up that shit.
No,
Right,
they
exactly.
actually had to have before that scene shows up, the screen would go blank, and all of the ushers would rush in, and they would give a warning, and they would watch everybody when that scene was going on. Like they would actually monitor them. It was insane.
That's crazy.
All right. Next fact. All right. In the average trick or treater's bag, there's around 5,435 calories. An average trick or treater's bag.
That seems kind of low.
That seems low, right? I feel there should be more.
Actually, 5,000 calories.
Yeah.
So like, all right. So if every little chocolate is about, let's say, 100 calories, right?
Mm.
So
That's 50
5,000
pieces of
calories.
candy,
So that's about 50 pieces of candy, right?
which seems low.
That's a lame trick or treater. Like you gotta get more than that. You need a pillowcase. You need a pillowcase full of candy. You don't know how the poor did it. We went around like it was our job.
Right? You got like
I
500,
mean, granted,
600 pieces of candy.
I also was too old for trick or treating by the time I moved to the States because I grew up in West
Also
Africa.
fair.
Oh, fair.
I have no concept of how big the bag's actually supposed to be.
No, man.
Bro, we had pillowcases full of candy. Like some
We
of
would
us
do
had 2 of
re-ups.
them.
We would do re-ups. We would
Right,
go
exactly.
home,
Yeah, we had
put all the,
multiple.
and then come back. Yeah.
Like Deep Rock Galactic when the dwarves get all the minerals and they have to
Yeah.
pump it.
Yes.
Go back out in mine.
Exactly like that.
Exactly. All right. Did you know flies are not able to hear any sounds at all? Flies are like the daredevil of insects.
Except for hearing.
Yeah. Wait,
That's funny.
yeah, flies cannot hear anything. I did not know that. They just go on vibes. They're just going off vibes.
Yo, it's funny you say that because flies have like little hairs on them, right?
Yeah.
So if you like get close to them, they feel the vibration of your hand coming.
Yeah.
But also, they don't hear sounds, but they feel the sound waves with those same hairs.
Yeah. Well, that's what the spider
So they
sense is
literally
based
feel
on.
the vibes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
literally feel the vibes. It's so
No.
funny that you said it that way.
There's a documentary with Stan Lee about like how he came up with the spider sense, and that's basically what it's based on. It's like the hairs on Peter's hands would feel the vibration in the air move and the temperature move, and that gives him this
Yeah.
like spider sense. Yeah, it's really cool.
Vibes. I love it.
Yeah, vibes. All right. I don't know if you knew this one, Rishi, but did you know a tiger's tongue is so rough it can lick the paint off a building?
Yeah, it's like sandpaper.
So yeah.
You know what, man? I gotta see that one to believe it. That sounds like bullshit.
No, that's a real one.
I don't know. You need to make a movie called.
Because it's 2 against 1, or because like you have seen it. Like you have seen it.
So funny story. I live in Houston. My sister's in-laws live in Oklahoma City. On the way up to Oklahoma City, you pass the Tiger King Tiger Sanctuary.
Oh shit!
Okay, so when I say it's a real thing, it's from experience.
Chaz, you better make sure this is true, because if you're lying and we get sued again,
No,
I will
this is real.
I will never be able to financially recover from this.
Hey, we didn't get sued. I was hoping we get sued so I can make a lot
No,
of money off of
I
it.
was quoting Tiger King. That's the line from Tiger King. I will never
Oh,
financially
okay.
recover from this. All right.
We haven't sued before. It's great.
It was fun. The word planet comes from the Greek word for wanderer, because the planets move while the stars remain still. The planets move.
Did not know
And
that.
somehow we're still back on flat Earth in 2025.
Yeah. But when you stand still, you say you're planted. So it's a little vice versa. A little vice versa there for you. Huh? Oh.
Mhm.
All right. We got a few more and then we're done. Did you know Chuck E. Cheese and Atari were dreamed up by the same person? Same person who came up with the concept of Chuck E. Cheese came up with the concept of the Atari. I am so sad we don't have a crossover.
Nolan Bushnell, the Atari guy.
It says, yeah. I don't know. Jazz, fact check. We're gonna fact check.
Okay, yeah.
You gotta
I need
fact
to see
check this, man.
It says the same.
Oh, yep, Nolan Bushnell. He established Atari Inc. and the Chuck E. Cheese
There you go.
time theater chain.
There you go.
I'm taking that one. Okay.
I had to Google this. Like, what?
That's insane.
In fact, wait. So you know what actually makes sense that he would make up Chuck E. Cheese.
That makes just arcades in there.
Okay. Wait. The question is, did Chuck E. Cheese come first or did Atari come first?
Atari came first.
Atari had to come first.
Yeah. But that makes sense though, because Chuck E. Cheese was just all video games in there. That's synergy, bro. Synergy.
They pulled a Pepsi and then Pizza Hut Taco Bell thing, like.
Yeah.
Because Pepsi was like, oh, we can't compete against Coke. Let's just buy the chain, sell our products. And then now it's like, oh, Atari sell more products. Let's just build out a bunch of arcades everywhere.
You know what's the most underrated game at Chuck E. Cheese? The Hungry Hippo thing, where you go like blop 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 and get all the little marbles from the Hungry Hippos. Get so many tickets.
Really?
Although, isn't Chuck E. Cheese just teaching kids how to like gamble?
Yes.
It's essentially just like grooming them to be like future degenerates who gamble.
I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese, but I've been to like entertainment centers for kids that have like arcades, like pool tables, like what's it called, like air hockey and all that stuff. But like, and they'll have like pizza or whatever, but like never have I been to an actual Chuck E. Cheese. And I think the best one of those types I've been to was actually in West Africa, believe it or not. Because when they made the food, none of it was like frozen. It was all made fresh.
Oh.
So when they were making pizza, it's like they were doing it with the whole pizza oven and the whole thing. And the thing is, the guys doing it were like, they were like real, like pizza makers.
Yeah.
Like, and they were doing it.
That's pretty dope. I definitely want to go to one of those now. I feel like that short beats Dave & Buster's.
Hey, I'm just saying, man.
By the way,
Africa is mad underrated in North America,
100%.
And it is like just the whole continent has, like everywhere you go, you will see something you've never seen in your life.
I've been to Kenya and Tanzania, and literally one of my two favorite places I've ever been. I climbed Kilimanjaro, and it's like one of the best experiences of my life. And it was Tanzania probably has the nicest people in the entire planet. Super nice, love it.
Before we go on the next one, did you know that during the COVID era, Chuck E. Cheese, in order to survive, they created a fake Grubhub restaurant called Pasquale's Pizza, and they would use Chuck E. Cheese's kitchens and give you the same food from Chuck E. Cheese as like a pizza shop.
No way.
Actually, no one can order from Chuck E. Cheese on like Grubhub, right? So they had to give it a different name.
It sounds like the Mr. Beast burger, but for Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
That's so funny. Did you hear about the rumor that went around the Pizza Hut? Chuck E. Cheese. They were like, Chuck E. Cheese, what they do is they take all the leftover pizza and then put it together and give it to you as a new people. But that turned out to be a hoax. But it was like a big
That's
thing.
completely a hoax.
Yeah,
There was no way that would have been real.
that'd be insane. There's not a lot of Chuck E. Cheese left though. They're almost gone. Oh, yeah. I
And who
don't know.
knows? There might be a revival.
Yeah. That's that's kind of like what that movie, another horror movie. What the Fridays at Freddy's.
Friday. Oh, yeah, that's based off of a video game series.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's not based off Chuck E. Cheese. It's a video game series. You're right.
It's a video game series, but it's probably inspired by Chuck E.
But
Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's, like that's really, really big with kids right now.
Yeah, I do not know how that movie blew up, but like it did. It's so weird how some of these random movies just like
it's
blow
just because
up.
those games are super popular and there's tons of merchandise built around it before that film ever got made, and the film was kind of like that next step for them to just make more money. That's literally all it is.
Synergy.
So yeah, I mean, like
Synergy.
I don't know if it's a good movie or not. I heard from a lot of people that it's, in terms of like horror films, it's meh.
Yeah, I would agree.
But if you're really into Five Nights at Freddy's, you're probably going to be really into that movie.
Yeah. It was very meh, but like I was like, you know what? It was fine. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was a good watch. But I think that's it. I think that's all the fun facts we have for you this week. Rishi, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
We'll drop all the links for the movie, but do you also want to drop a link to your Instagram, have people follow you, or you rather not have people follow you? Like,
You can drop all my social media I gave you ahead of time into your show notes. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at Senor Rish. That's SENOR_RISH. I'm also on Blue Sky at rishjg.bssky.social. And I think you can find me on TikTok at RJG_film.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. And until next time, guys, Salaam, nerds.